Hello everyone, welcome to another JavaScript tutorial, and in this video we'll be creating a music app from scratch using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now this app works in two ways. You can either click on any of these keys to play the sound, and let me show you, or you can press the specified key on your keyboard and I'll show you again starting from here. So if I press K, J, H, G, so you see we have this nice little music app working. And for the audio, I have used the classical notes of Indian music, and the name of these audios are the same as we have here: Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. And you can get the audio from the repo, and the link for that will be in the description. So without wasting time, let's start working on the project. Now to work on the project, you need some kind of starter files for all these audios that I'm using. So if you check out the link in the description, you'll land here on this GitHub repo. And we have two branches here. The main one has all the source code for the finished version of the project. And the starter files has all the starter files that you're going to use. So you can just download the zip version. Let's save and move to the desktop. Copy it and paste it outside. I will just rename it to music app and then just delete this zip version. Now I will open my VS Code and you can see we have a sounds folder with 8 MP3 files. Then we have an image that we're going to use for the background image. And then we have a style sheet with all the CSS that we have used for the project. And now since this is a JavaScript tutorial, I didn't want to cover CSS part because that takes a long time and most people like to write their own CSS anyway. So if you want, you can write your own, and if you don't, you can use the one I have provided for you. So now let's create an HTML and JavaScript file, index.html and then app.js. In the index.html file, I will create a boilerplate using shift and 1. So we get this exclamatory mark, and if you press enter, we get this nice little boilerplate. Let's rename the title to music.app. Let's have an h1 with a title music app, and I have an extension called live server. You can download it if you don't, this one right here. So it will allow me to run my project side by side. If I right click and open with live server, we get the live version here. And let me just put them side by side so it's easier to work. Yeah. So now the first thing I will do is link my CSS file here. The name is styles.css, and then also link my JavaScript file. The name for that is app.js. If I save, you will see the background image will be here. You can see, and we have this nice little style for the h1. You can always refer to the CSS. Like you can see here, we have this margin, we have text transform uppercase and so on. So you can check out the file if you want, and if you don't, you can create your own. Now the first thing to do is create a div with a class of keys. This div will have all of our 8 keys that we will use for playing the music. And now let me just create single keys. So I will create one key and then copy and paste it 7 more times. And to create the key, I will use an article tag instead of a div. Give it a class of key. Inside this, we will have a button with a class of key btn. Inside this button, we will have 2 more small elements. First will be span with the title of the key, and for the first key we have SA, that is SA, and then we will have a paragraph tag which will basically say the key that we need to press to play the sound. After the button we will have an audio tag for that specific button or key, anything you want you can say, and we will navigate to the sounds folder and select the appropriate sound. So for this one, this is star.mp3, and then we will add a custom attribute data.key. Let me just quickly explain what it is. So we have all these predefined attributes in HTML, right? We have source, we have class, we have href, and so on. So what data.key data attribute allows us to do is it allows us to create our custom attribute. So we have, okay, let me just correct it here. So we have this data, and then after the dash we can use any keyword we want. We can write ID, we can write class, potato, elephant, anything we want to create a custom attribute. But for our example, I will use the key keyword. Then the value for it will be A, and this value for all the keys will be the one that we have here. So basically the key that we need to press to play the sound, that will be here. So we have our first key ready, and if I save, you see we get this nice little keyboard like key here. Now I just need to make 7 more of these and the HTML part will be complete. So I will copy it and paste it 7 more times. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We have 8 keys now. And now I just need to update the text inside them. So I have the first one, and for the second one, let me just refer to the complete project to see what they are. Yeah, so for the second one we have RE. The audio will be re.mp3. Key here is S and S. So we have 2 done. Let's put a space to indicate where we are. Then for the third one we have GA. Audio file is GA. Key here is D and D. We have 3 done. Then fourth one is MA. Now, like I mentioned, all these are notes in Indian classical music and they are pronounced the same way. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni. The key is F. F again. 4 of these are done. Then we have pa. Audio is pa.mp3. Key will be G and G here. 5 done. 3 more. Next we have something called dha. DHA. Key for it will be H and H. Then the last 2 we have ni here. We have J as a key and J here. I know this task is a little bit boring, but yeah, we have to do it. It would have been a different case if we were working with React or something, but in pure HTML and CSS, we need to type a lot. So yeah, we're done with it. And if I save and go to my project, you can see we have these nice little buttons. And now I will move to my JavaScript file to implement the functionality. Now for the JavaScript, we need to implement the functionality in 2 ways. First, when we click on these buttons, the sound should play. And then when we press any of the keys on our keyboard, any of those 8 specified keys, then also our sound should play. So first I will do it for clicking. So we are going to select all these 8 buttons using document.querySelectorAll, and we will select them using this button element since all of these 8 keys are inside this button. And then I will do the same for these 8 audios that we have. Again, document.querySelectorAll and select them by the audio element. So we have 8 buttons inside this node list and we have 8 audios here, and let me just quickly show you. So we are logging all these 8 buttons and 8 audios. If I open the console here, you can see we have 2 node lists. The first one are all these 8 buttons and the second one is all these 8 audios that we have. So I can just close it, and now I will loop over all these 8 buttons using the for each method, and it gives us access to those individual buttons and their index. And for each of these buttons I will add an event listener. Name of the event will be click, and we will have a callback function. So in this function we are going to select the audio associated with that individual button, and we are going to do it using this index. So I will create a new variable called audio. It will be equal to the audio's node list, and then we will pass the index on which we are at. So if we click on the second button, index will be 1, and if index will be 1, we will get the second audio from this node list. So indirectly speaking, if we click on the second button, we get the second audio. Similarly, if we click on the fourth, we get the fourth audio. And now we can just play that audio. If I save and click on any of these buttons, you can see we are nicely playing the audio. But one thing to note is that if you keep clicking on this, the second instance of the audio only gets played when the first one is done. So to prevent that, we can use a property called current time, and it will be equal to 0. And if I save, and now if I keep clicking on any of these buttons, see the difference. We can keep on playing them again and again even if the first one isn't finished yet. Now another thing to do is add animation to these buttons, and for that I have this key animate class already prepared in CSS, and this will add an animation of a small animation and a border color of yellow. So let's select our button on which we have clicked and use the class list property to add a class. The class we're going to add is key animate. There is still one thing that we have done wrong, but let me first show you what happens when I click on any of these. So you can see we are animating it and adding the border, but we are never removing it. So we want to remove it after some time. So for that we will use the set timeout function, and it takes 2 arguments. First one is a function and second one is a time. So the function inside runs only after the specified time. So if I write a function inside, and the function will be removing this key animate class from my button, and if we want to do it after, let's say 2 seconds, so we will write here 2000, because this takes value in milliseconds, so 2 seconds is 2000 milliseconds. So if I save, and now if I click on any of these buttons, you can see we are adding the animation and we are removing it after 2 seconds. But for our example, 2 seconds is very high, so I need to reduce it to 150 milliseconds. So if now I click on any of these buttons, you can see we have nice animation for each of them. So clicking functionality is basically done. Now we need to do the same for the key pressing elements. So whenever we press any key from our keyboard, sounds are played. So let's start. Now for this, I'm going to add an event listener to the window element, window object. And the name of the event will be key down, so that whenever we press a key on our keyboard, this event gets called. And we have access to this E, which is the event variable. And if I log E here and show you what we get, let me open the console. So whenever I press any key, you can see we get this huge object. And the only property that we are interested in is this key. So it basically specifies us the key on which we have pressed on our keyboard. So now instead of logging this whole object, I can just log e.key. And you can see we have this name of the key on which we have put our fingers on. And if I turn my caps lock on, and now if I press anything, you see we get this capital letters, and we do not want that because in our HTML file we have only specified our data key attribute for the small ones. So I need to convert it to lowercase so that even if a user has caps lock on, it will convert it to lower letters. So instead of console logging, I will assign it to a variable. Name of the variable will be key, and it will be equal to e.key.lowercase. I can just close the console now, and the next thing to do is select my audio, and I will select it using document.querySelector again. Not all, only document.querySelector. And since we are going to select it using this data key attribute, the process is a little bit different. First, we need to specify the element on which we have used the data key attribute. And for us, it is the audio element, right? And then we need to specify this data key attribute with its value. So I will just copy it, and we need to put it inside square brackets. And if I paste my copied data key attribute, we have this. So now our audio is equal to this last audio, that is the one associated with K. And if I log it to show you, and let me open the console again. Now if I click on any of the key, you can see we are getting the last audio. But we do not always want the last audio, we want it to be dynamic. So if I click on the first one, I should get the first audio. If I click on the second, I should get the second one, and so on. So for it to be dynamic, we are going to use this key variable. If you remember, it gave us, just like we have these letters here, K, it gave us the keys on which we have put our fingers on, that is the key we have pressed. So for that, I am going to use this key variable. And to use this variable, we need to convert this string into template literals, and for that I am going to use backticks. And now if we see what we get on the audio, so if I press A, we get the first audio. If I press S, we get the second. For D, we get the third. So we get all these audios, right? But what happens if I press some other key on my keyboard? If I press 1, 2, or suppose Q, W, E, the keys that we do not have here. And let me show you by example. If I press Q, I get null. If I press 1, I get null. So we do not want null, right? So before we play our audio, we are going to check if the audio variable is defined. Because if it is null, then it will not be defined, obviously. So we are checking if audio is defined, then we would want to play that audio. If I close the console, or let me just keep it open, and if I press, if I'm pressing on any of these keys, I am playing the audio, but if I press on any other key, suppose 1, 2, 3, we are getting the null because of this console log. Let me just remove it. So we are playing the audio, but if I click on any of these other keys, nothing is happening. So everything works fine. Now we again need to add this current time property so we can play it again and again without waiting for the first instance to be done playing. And let's just check it quickly. Yeah, it's working fine. Now we need to add animation again. So we are going to copy these two lines and we are going to paste them here. And if I show you the console right now, if we press on any of these keys, you will see that BTN is not defined because in this scope, in these brackets, we have not defined BTN, right? So we need to do it first. So for that, I'm going to create a new variable const BTN, and we are going to use the audio that we got from this document.query selector, and we are going to use a method called previous element sibling. And if I show you in the HTML file, for this audio tag, the previous element is this button tag, right? So that's how we are using this previous element sibling property to select our button. And now if I save and if I press any keys on my keyboard, you can see everything is working fine. So our project is almost done. There is just one more thing that we need to do. In programming, there is a concept called dry, which basically means do not repeat yourself. So you should not have same lines of code in more than one place. And if we see our project, we have these 4 lines: audio.currentTime, play, adding the animation and removing the animation twice, right? We have this here and then we have this here. So we can just create a separate function for these 4 lines. I will cut them. I will create a new function called play sounds. This will take 2 arguments. First will be audio, second will be button, and it will be arrow function. And now I can just paste those 4 lines. So this takes audio and button. Now I can just call this play sounds function here with audio and play. So we are not play, I'm sorry, button. We are passing this audio here and we are passing this button here. Now we can copy it and do the same. First we will remove these 4 lines and replace it with this function. If I save and check our final project by going full screen, first let me check by clicking on them. Yeah, everything is working fine when we click on them, and let me just test by pressing the keys on my keyboard. Yeah, so everything works fine and our project is complete. So that's all I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more such content. And thanks for watching and have a good day. Thank you.